Perfect. Chale, let's start. Let's start with the remaining units of Module B. Let's start with Unit 23. In the last class, we completed till Unit 22. Today's target is that we complete till Unit 33 and the remaining part of Module B will be done tomorrow. So, the first topic that we have is appraisal and assessment of credit facilities. We have gone through the notes, we have understood the topics. Now, let's attempt the questions. You know what the 7 C's are, right? The 7 C's of credit appraisal: character, cash flow, conditions, capacity, capital, collateral. All of these together makes a person credit worthy and he'll be able to get the loans from the borrowings from the financial institutions. Let's attempt the questions here. Question number 1 is on the screen. Question number 1 is on the screen. What does the cost of sale include that the cost of production does not? Cost of sale means the expenses that we are doing to sell the product. See, I have made a product, okay? I have made a product for 10 rupees. I'm getting the advertisements done, I'm getting the labeling done, I'm sending them to the wholesalers and the retailers. This is the cost of sale. Selling and administrative expense is cost of sale. Yes, B is the correct answer. B is the correct answer. Next, which of the following statements are correct with respect to forms 3, 4, 5 used in credit assessment by banks? Form 3 justifications must be provided for any significant increase in inventories and receivables, especially if project level exceeds norm. This statement is correct. Statement number 2. Form 4 is designed to analyze trends in term liabilities and capital reserves over multiple years. Form 4 specially focuses on comparative studies of current assets and current liabilities. It does not talk about long-term items. Statement number 2 is incorrect. Statement number 3 is correct. The Form 4 is used to compute the maximum permissible bank finance by examining current assets and liabilities and aligning them with project sales and project increases. Statement number 1 and 3 are correct. That will give us C as the correct answer. C is the correct answer. Next question. Which of the following statements are correct with respect to cash budget method used by banks for working capital assessment? Question is on the screen. Question is on the screen. Please reply. Statement number 1 is correct. The cash budget management method is adopted primarily for borrowers seeking funds based limit over 10 crore. Right? It is for 10 crores. Statement number 2 is not correct. The budget deals only with actual cash transaction, not with non-cash transactions. Statement number 2 is incorrect. The other statements given on the screen are correct. That will give us D as the correct answer. D is the correct answer. Every statement except statement number 2 is incorrect. Cash budget deals with just cash, not non-cash. So D is the correct answer. D is the correct answer. Next question. Which of the following best defines credit risk? Which of the following best define credit risk? The possibility of the borrower or counterparty to default. This is credit risk. Statement option is B. B is the correct answer. Next. A company has the following information for the financial year. The sundry creditors 1,20,000. Opening balance is 120, closing balance is 180. Annual credit purchase is 21,60,000 rupees. This is the annual, see what is the average payment method? Average payment method is equals to average balance of the creditor upon the daily credit upon daily credit now. So what is the average balance of sundry creditor? It is 1,50,000. How did 1,50,000 came? See, opening balance plus closing balance divided by 2 करते हैं, इससे हमें average मिल जाएगा. Opening balance is 120, closing balance is 180. How do we calculate this? Average balance is average balance of creditors is 1,20,000 plus 1,80,000 upon 2. This will be 1,50,000. 3 lakh divided by 2 is 1,50,000. Average daily purchases is whatever we have purchased on annual rates. We'll divide this by 360. We'll divide this by 360. So the average will be 216,000,360, which will give us 6,000. So the average payment method is 1,50,000 upon 3,600. That will give us 25 days. Okay? Is this clear to everybody? The answer is 25 days. Next, which of the following statement regarding bank guarantee are correct? What are correct? First statement is incorrect. Bank guarantee limits are not fixed permanently. Are they fixed permanently? No, they are not. And do not require periodic review. They require periodic review. They are subject to annual reviews. Statement number 1 is incorrect. Statement number 2 is correct. Performance guarantee are issued for obligations like supplying goods or completing projects within a timeline. Yes. Statement number 3 is correct. The guarantee issued in favor of the State Electricity Board in lieu of the security deposit is permanent guarantee. Yes. The amount of bank guarantee required for garment export quota is unrelated to the quota applied. This is wrong. The guarantee for export quota is directly related to the value of the quota applied for. Randomly, there will be no money given. The guarantee amount is not unrelated. Statement number 4 is incorrect. Statement number 5 and 6 are again correct. That will give us 1 and 4 incorrect. 2, 3, 5, 6. A is the correct answer. A is the correct answer. Next question. What does a DSCR of 1.50 typically indicates? Typically it indicates, see, if it is more than 1.50 but less than 2, it indicates that the borrower has sufficient margin. It is safe for us to give the money. It is safe for us to give the money. They have sufficient margin. C is the correct answer. Next. Consider the following statements regarding assessment of term loans. Term loans are for how much time? It is for to be repaid between 3 to 10 years. For new business, term loan assessment includes evaluating business cost of the project and the means of finances. The working capital margin is excluded from the cost of project. How will we not? Why will we not calculate the working capital? Working capital is the important thing for a business. right? It is included in the project cost. Statement number 3 is incorrect. Statement number 4, the credit risk is in the term loan is generally higher than the working capital loan. Yes, it is. Statement number 3 के अलावा everything is correct. B is the correct answer. B is the correct answer. Next question. Which of the following statements regarding letter of credit are correct? Letter of credit are correct. We did this topic in the morning, right? The letter of credit is an unconditional guarantee from the bank to pay the beneficiary upon compliance with the specified term. Yes. The assessment of LC limit by bank considered the project credit purchase of the raw material. Correct. Statement. The DA term. Payment is made immediately upon presentation of the document. DA means documents against acceptance. When the acceptance will happen, the buyers accept the bill of exchange and agrees to pay in future date. Not immediately. Immediate payment happens in DP, that is document against payment. Acceptance may we wait for the acceptance to happen. Statement number 3 is incorrect. The letter of credit cycle includes time taken from shipment and the period between agreed by the buyers and the seller. Yes. The strict compliance with the term of letter of credit is essential for the payment to be made. Yes. Whatever the documents are asked, we have to comply with those. Except statement 3, everything is correct. D is the correct answer. Next question. Which of the following is this correct regarding credit appraisal and credit risk assessment? The credit appraisal primary focus on the verification of the document. No. The credit appraisal involves more than just document verification. It involves the viability, it involves the risk, it involves the project, everything. Statement number 2 is correct. Statement number 3 is correct. Statement number 4 is correct. Statement number 5 is not correct. A proposal, see, statement number 5 is a borrower's credit proposal will always be accepted if documents are in order. No, it is the choice of the bank. It is the choice of the bank. Yes, Sushil ji. It is the choice of the bank. Statement number 1 and 5 are incorrect. That will give us B as the correct answer. B is the correct answer. Next question. Which of the following statements correctly match the 7 C's? Okay, this is a good question. Please attempt this question. Elements of 7C. Answer please. I'm waiting for your reply. All the statements mentioned are correct. These are the full forms of the 7 C's, right? All the statements are correct. Next, identify the correct statement regarding working capital from the following. Working capital. The ratio less than 1.1, 1:1 indicates insufficient liquidity. The ratio should be more than 1:1. When it is less than 1:1, it indicates insufficient liquidity. Statement number 4 is incorrect. The moment we get 4 incorrect, we eliminate A, B and C, and D will be the correct answer. Statement number 2 is also incorrect. Why? Because net working capital is the difference between the current assets and the current liability. We do not talk about the fixed assets. अब working capital के बारे में whenever we are talking about, it is regarding the assets that we have in hand right now. We do not talk about neither fixed assets nor fixed liabilities. ठीक है? No, there is no fixed liabilities. We do not talk about fixed items. Next question. Next question is on the screen. Statement number 1 is correct. Working capital includes raw material, stock in process, finished goods, receivables and other expenses. Working capital needs do change as per the company size. It changes. It does not remain constant. Statement number 2 is incorrect. The moment we find statement number 2 as incorrect, we eliminate A and C. Statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 3 is also correct. Let's see statement number 4 and 5. The operating cycle starts with cash and ends with the realization of sale proceeds. Yes, the raw material. We first buy raw material. We buy raw material. That raw material becomes work in process, work in progress. From this work in progress, we get goods. We get goods. Finished goods. Now these finished goods are sent in the market for sale. And from this sale, we get cash. And from this cash, we again buy raw material. Right? So statement number 4 is correct. Statement number 5 is incorrect. Why? Because the length of the operating cycle directly influences the amount of working capital that we need. So there is an impact. It directly impacts. Statement number 5 is incorrect. That will give us B as the correct answer. B is the correct answer. Good evening, Sauravji. Next question. Which of the following statements are true regarding the traditional methods of assessing working capital using the operating cycle method? C. Statement number 1 is correct. The operating cycle method requires estimating the holding period of the major current assets and liabilities. Yes. The bank finance is required for both raw material purchased on credit and those who are fully paid for. Bank finance is only for the paid one. If we are buying something on credit, we are not paying that. And if we are not paying for it, we do not need money from it. We do not need money from the banks. So statement number 2 is incorrect. The moment statement number 2 got incorrect, we eliminate A and B. Third statement is correct. Fourth statement is again incorrect. The creditors are always set off against stock when assessing working capital. No. Creditors are not set off against stock. Creditors are never set off against the stock. Statement number 4 is also incorrect. That will give us a C as the correct answer. C is the correct answer. Next question. Which of the following statements are correct in reference of Tandon Committee recommendation and methods of maximum permissible bank finance? Why am I not getting replies in the chat section? These questions are for you. These questions are to help you. This is the last question from this unit. I need everybody to reply. Everybody needs to reply. Method 1 is when borrower must bring in at least 25% of the total assets. Yes, you should. Method 1 is correct. Statement number 2. Method 2, bank finances the 75% of the current assets minus current liabilities. They do not finance the total current assets. They minus current assets minus current liabilities. Statement number 4 is incorrect. The moment 4 gets incorrect, we eliminate B. Statement number 4 is incorrect. Statement number 5 is correct. Method 3 is talking about it talks about the concept of core current assets, fully financed long-term funds. Next is statement number 6. The norms of raw material inventories were prescribed based on the average quarterly consumption. No, it depends upon the average monthly consumption, not quarterly, monthly. Statement number 6 is incorrect. Statement number 4 is incorrect. So 4 is Hicks law. Let's see whether statement number 7 is correct or not. The Tandon Committee initially specified inventories and receivable norms for 25 industries. It set it up for 15 industries, not 25. Statement number 7 is incorrect. That will give us A as the correct answer. A is the correct answer. Next. Now we have is unit 24. The operational aspects of loan. Okay, this unit we talked about the education loan, the vehicle loan. These are the percentiles that you need to be aware about, when and what to pay, how to pay, what is the LTVs, what is the margin kept, and what are and how are these used. You need to know, you need to read this slide, that is why I added this slide for you. You need to go through this slide, and let's start with the MCQs. This slide is available in the PPT that I'm providing you. You have to go through this before attempting the MCQs yourself. Okay, let's start with the questions. As per the RBI guidelines, when can bank recovery agent make phones? It cannot make phones after what time? It cannot make call after 7 p.m. Between 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. the calls can be made. Statement number, option number C is correct. Next question. Which of the following statements related to vehicle loan are correct as per the operational guidelines regarding vehicle loans? Statement number 1 is correct. Vehicle loans can be sanctioned for purchase of new or old used car, MUVs, SUVs and two-wheelers, but not commercial vehicles. Yes, not for the commercial vehicles. Commercial vehicles are not covered under these guidelines. Statement number 1 is correct. Individuals above 65 are eligible provided they have a co-applicant. Individuals who are above the age of 65 cannot apply for vehicle loan. There is no exception of co-applicant, they just cannot. They cannot. Statement number 2 is incorrect. The LTV ratio allowed the higher for car priced below 10 lakh than those above 10 lakhs. Yes. For 85% for cars which are less than equal to 10 lakhs, and 80% for the cars which are more than 10 lakhs. So LTV ratio is higher for lower priced cars. Statement number 3 is correct. The prepayment penalty is waived off and penalty applies at the prepayment of the vehicle attracts the penalty if done within the first 12 months. No. Prepayment penalty is waived off. No penalty applies before 12 months. For 12 months. Okay? Statement number 12. So what is incorrect? Statement number 5 is correct. Interest is calculated on daily reducing balance with monthly rests. Statement number 6 and 7 are also correct. That will give us what? That will give us A as the correct answer. A is the correct answer. A is the correct answer. Statement number 2 is incorrect. Statement number 4 is incorrect. Others are correct. Next. In December 2015, RBI reviewed the norms for determination of the base rate and introduction of MCLR. MCLR would serve as the internal benchmark for pricing all rupee loans and limit. In March 2016, the Master Direction Reserve Bank of India was issued. Which of the following entities are not covered under the Master Direction Interest Rate on Advance 2016? What are not included? The RRBs are not included. It is A. It is the RRBs. Except RRBs. Yes, very good, Rajniji. Very, very good. It is A. Next. Which of the following statement regarding the accounting and operational aspects of loan are correct? What all are correct? Please read the question. I'm waiting for your answer. Read the question. Statement number 1 is incorrect. Term loans should be dispersed directly to the supplier or the vendor. We do not give term loans to the borrower. Statement number 1 is incorrect. Statement number 2 is correct. 3 is correct. 4 is correct. 5 is correct. Except 1, everything is correct. That will give us C as the correct answer. Very good, Sushilji. C is the correct answer. Next question. Which of the following, what is the maximum exposure that a bank can have in equipment leasing, hire purchase, and factoring services when undertaken departmentally? It is 10% of the total advance. 10% of the total advance. C. C is the correct answer. Next, which of the following statement regarding the loan review mechanism credit audit system in bank are correct? What all are correct? Credit audit is confined in verifying loan documentation and not concerned with the portfolio level risk assessment. Like, we just see the documents and we don't see how risky it is. We never see the signs, we do not see the policies. Is it what we do? No. This statement is incorrect. We do not confine to documents. We see whether our money is going to come back, what is the risk associated, what is the person complying with the policies, are there any signs of not getting the money back. Statement number 1 is incorrect. Statement number 2 and 3 are correct. Statement number 4. The loan review under credit audit is strictly limited to the large account with sanction limit above the prescribed threshold. The review is not just for the large account. It is for the accounts which fall below the cut, which are of concerns. It does not matter what the threshold is. If the account is anyhow of any concern, we review that. Okay, so statement number 4 is again incorrect. That will give us B as the correct answer. Very good, Sushil ji. B is the correct answer. Next, which of the following statements regarding base rate system introduction by the RBI are correct? BPLR. What are correct related to BPLR? BPLR, base rate, base rate, we are talking about base rate, not BPLR. BPLR is benchmark prime rating. The base rate replaced the BPLR system in July 2010. Yes, it did. There could be only one base rate per bank. There could be only one base rate, not multiple. Statement number 2 is incorrect. The base rate methodology would be reviewed anytime in the year. It is reviewed after every 3 years. Reviewed for at least 3 years from finalization, we do not touch it. Statement number 3 is incorrect. Wherever 2 and 3 are mentioned, let's eliminate that. And we'll get A as the correct answer. We'll get A as the correct answer. Next. Which of the following statements regarding interest rate norms under the RBI MCLR based framework are correct? RBI MCLR. It got applicable from 1st April 2016. Yes, it did. Banks are allowed to offer both fixed and floating interest. It is not just fixed. Fixed and floating both. Statement number 2 is incorrect. The moment 2 gets incorrect, we eliminate all of these and we get C as the correct answer. But let's see why statement number 5 is incorrect. Banks can charge penal interest even for priority sector loans up to 25,000. No penalties for a loan up to 25,000. This is the law. This is the rule. Statement number 5 is incorrect. Next, regarding MCLR again. Statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 2 is not correct. Banks must publish at least 5 MCLRs for various maturities from various areas. There is not just one. It is 5. Statement number 2 is incorrect. The moment 2 gets incorrect, let's eliminate these. Let's see statement number 4. 3 is common. 5 and 6 are common. Let's see 4. The spread charges to the borrower can be increased arbitrarily by the bank. Can bank ever do anything arbitrarily? Can bank ever be arbitrary? No. No. Spreads can only be increased if the credit risk profile deteriorates. Nothing can be arbitrary by the bank, by the government, by the legal law holders. Statement number 4 is incorrect. That will give us A as the correct answer. Next, Which of the following statements regarding credit management and exposure norms are correct? Exposure is reckoned at higher of the sanction limit. Exposure limits are determined solely based on the sanction limit, regardless of the actual outstanding. We see what is higher, the sanction or the outstanding. We compare and then we give the loan. Then that determines the exposure limit. So statement number 2 is incorrect. The moment 2 gets incorrect, we eliminate A and D. 1, 3 are common. 7 is common. Let's see 4, 5 and 6. Credit exposure includes only funds limited to and excludes non-funds limit. Credit exposure includes both funds and non-funds. So statement number 4 is incorrect. Statement number 4 is incorrect. Let's see statement number 5. Statement number 5 is correct. For fully drawn term loans, outstanding is calculated used to calculate the exposures. Next, it is not 30%, it is 25%. 25%, not 30%. That will give us B as the correct answer. B is the correct answer. Next, see, in this unit, we are talking about the lands and buildings, the loans on goods, document of title of goods, insurance policy against shares. A lot of things got discussed here, that what all things can be given as a security. What all things can be given as security. This is there. We have talked about SURFACI, we have talked about Sales of Goods Act, Contract Act, Property TPA, BR Act. Somewhat, somehow, some of the act got in the list. Okay, this is the cheat sheet. This is a cheat sheet where the different types of margins which the bank gives, what is the percentile, what is the format, what is the LTVs is given. Go through this. Please go through this. Next, so for the lands and buildings, we do mortgage. For goods of which we give possession, it is called a pledge. Of those who we do not give possession, it is called hypothecation. Life insurance policy, for books, debt and supply bills, we do assignment. For term deposit, we can either go for pledge or lien. For shares and demat, we always go for a pledge. The charge is called as pledge. Let's start with question number 1. Question number 1 is on the screen. Statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 2 is correct. Statement number 3. Documents such as warehouse keepers, non-transferable receipts, and delivery challans are treated as document of title if they acknowledge possession of the goods. Warehouse keepers, non-transferable receipts, and challans are not a document of title. Document of title means those, see, a piece of paper basically, suppose this is a piece of paper. This shows that this belongs to me. This shows that the goods belong to me. I am the owner of the goods. I have the title of the goods. This just a delivery challan. A piece of paper, it is written that the goods are delivered, or the non-transferable receipts of the warehouse keeper. They are not the documents of title. They are not documents of title. Statement number 3 is incorrect. That will give us A as the correct answer. Question number 2. Question number 2. This is a fact-based question. A question like this will be seen by you in the Saturday's exam. I'm not going to help you in this question. You'll read the question yourself. I need a reply from every single one of you. It is not my exam, it is yours. Please make sure that you keep on replying in the chat section. C. Messrs Capital Fin Services, a mid-sized financial service company, approaches XYZ Bank for a working capital loan of 2 CR. The company proposes to pledge fully paid listed equity shares held in the demat form as collateral. These shares belong to public limited company actively traded on the stock exchange. The bank evaluates the proposal and confirms the loan in the expansion of the branch infrastructure and not for stock market investment. Additionally, the bank's credit team notes that the proposed pledge would result in bank holding 28% of the paid-up capital of the borrower's company as a pledge. The bank also reviewed that exposure to the capital market and classifies these advances appropriately and regulatory compliance. Can bank, the statutory limit under the BR Act is 30. 30% of the paid up capital of a company can be held by the bank. Okay? It can be held by the bank. So 28% is not exceeding. 28% is not exceeding the exposure limit. So statement number 2 is incorrect. The allowed percentile by the RBI is 30. Statement number 2 is incorrect. The moment 2 gets incorrect, let's eliminate B. Statement number 1 is correct. Banks can provide loan against the demat securities, demat shares. Statement number 3 is also correct because since the loan is not speculative use and shares are listed and fully paid, the banks can create a pledge and proceed with the dispersal. Yes, banks can. Advance secured by shares for purpose like bank business expansions are still considered part of capital market exposure by the RBI. Yes, it is considered as a capital market exposure. Statement number 4 is also correct. Statement number 5. The unlisted or partially paid shares are also accepted as collateral under normal circumstances if the borrower provides adequate explanation and margin. Incorrect. Unlisted shares we do not accept. Banks do not accept the unlisted shares. The moment 5 gets incorrect, we eliminate all of these and we get C as the correct answer. We get shares. So only for the paid up, for the listed shares, bank can create a pledge. For the unlisted one, we cannot. Okay? We cannot. Statement number 1, 3 and 4 are correct. 2 and 5 are not. This is the explanation. Next question is on the screen. Please attempt the question. Please attempt the question. Statement number 1 is correct, 2 is correct, 3 is not correct. Hypothecation of book debt results in legal transfer of the debt ownership to the banks, allowing the bank to sue the debtor in its own name. Hypothecation does not create a legal transfer of the ownership. Hypothecation क्या होता है? When the goods are with the owner of the property, but the bank has given a loan against it. The goods are in the possession of the property. The person is in the possession of the goods. And the bank is the one who has paid for it. So bank can take the goods away for you if you do not make the payments. Statement number 3 is incorrect. Other statements are correct. That will give us D as the correct answer. D is the correct answer. Hypothecation does not result in legal transfer of ownership. It creates equitable charge. The bank cannot sue the debtor in its own name. Only assignment allows the bank to sue and give discharge. I bought a car. Okay? I bought a car and that car got stolen. I bought a car, I took a loan from the bank and that car got stolen. Can bank sue? Can bank sue the person who stole it? No, it is me. Hypothecation means the ownership is with me. The property is with me. The bank has a charge over it. Next question. Mr. Rajan approaches a nationalized bank for a loan of 5 lakh rupees against his family gold ornaments. Can he do so? Yes. For the working capital needs of his small textile business, non-agriculture purpose. The gold ornaments weighed 100 grams and the total was assessed for 6.8 lakhs in market value. He also owns a previously sanctioned education loan which was overdue by 3 months. Rajan does not possess purchase invoice of the ornament but insists that the gold have been in the family for generation. He further requests that the interest and the principal both be paid at the end of the tenure. Based on the case, which of the following statements are correct? What all statements are correct? See, banks cannot sanction full 5 lakh as loan amount since the maximum permissible limit for the loan is strictly at 75% of the gold ornaments. 6.8 6 lakh 80,000 into 75 upon 100 will give us what? Will give us 5 lakh 1,000. 5 lakh 10,000. Okay, 5 lakh 10,000. Banks cannot give more than 75%. This is the RBI mandate. Okay. For 75% of the 6 lakh 80,000 is 5 lakh 10,000. 5 lakh is within the limit, but anything above 5.1 lakh will be breach. So bank cannot sanction the full 5 lakh loan as loan amount since the maximum permissible limit is 75%. Bank can give 5 lakh. Bank can give 5 lakh. Statement number 1 is incorrect. Statement number 1 is incorrect. The moment 1 gets incorrect, we eliminate A and B. Statement number 2, 3 and 4 are correct. Statement number 2, 3 and 4 are correct. Why? Statement number 2 is saying while lack of purchase invoice can complicate the ownership claim, bank can still lend it. If they satisfied that the borrower is the borrower's pledge and identify the verification. It is risky, but there is no restriction. It is risky, but there is no restriction. Next, the banks can retain the golds even after closure of the gold loan if another loan is overdue, because this creates a general real rights over the gold. Statement number 4 is correct because it is for the non-agriculture gold loan hai. Both principal and interest are due at maturity. The maximum tenure can be 12 months. Okay, non-agriculture purpose, it can be 12 months. So 3, 2, 3, 4 are correct. Since the gold is in the form of ornaments and not in minted coin, the 50 gram limit is applicable. No, it is not. No, it is not. Statement number 5 is incorrect. 50 gram per limit is for the minted coin, not for the ornaments. And we do not take the melted form of the golds. Statement number 2, 3, 4 are correct. D is the correct answer. D is the correct answer. Next, question number 5. Question number 5 is on the screen. Statement number 1 is incorrect. Supply bills are non-negotiable instrument, but they can be assigned to banks. Supply bills are not negotiable instrument. Statement number 1 is incorrect, but they can be assigned to banks. You just remember this point. Okay. Statement number 1 is incorrect. 2 and 3 are correct. 4th is again incorrect. The bank can grant an advance against the supply bill even if the supplier is inexperienced with the government contract, provided the bill is supported an inspection certificate. Banks will not give loans. Banks will not grant advances to the person who is not expertised. you cannot, suppose I don't have any experience, okay, I don't have any experience and I ask to be a government contractor, and for that I need loan. Bank will never give me loan because there is a lot of risk in the payments, and bank is never willing to take that much risk. So statement number 4 is also incorrect. That will give us A as the correct answer. A is the correct answer. Rohan has a fixed deposit of 10 lakh rupees with XYZ bank earning 6% interest annually. He applies for an overdraft facilities against that FD. The bank agrees to sanction 90% of the FD as an overdraft with interest charged up 2% above the FD rates. Rohan has also submitted a fully discharged FD receipt and executed the loan documents. So whatever they are doing is correct. Additionally, he has given a letter of appropriation. In a case, he has given a letter of appropriation, how to use that money. In another case, Messrs Creative Threads holds an FD of 5 lakh. One of the partner, Ms. Neha, seeks a personal loan offering the firm's FD as security. Can this happen? No. Meanwhile, a customer, Mr. Arvind, wants a loan against an FD held by another bank. Separately, a guardian approaches XYZ bank seeking a loan against the FD in the name of the minor child. Can this happen? No. Claiming this for the child's educational need. Claiming this to be for the child's educational need. He is saying that the money is for the child. Okay? Now, XYZ bank can grant Rohan an overdraft of 9 lakh rupees with an interest of 8%. Yes, they can. Statement number 1 is correct. 2% above the rate they are providing. So 6% FD पे दे रहे थे, 2% above is 8%. Can they do this? Yes, they can. And 90% of the 10 lakhs is 9 lakh rupees. Statement number 1 is correct. Neha, the loan will be treated as a third party loan and the bank will charge commercial rates of interest. See, partners are not allowed to take personal loans on against the FDs. But if they do, if their partnership terms agrees, it will be treated as a third party loan. That is, I am using somebody else's property for my personal gain. Statement number 3. A loan can be granted against the FD held by another bank provided that the other bank register the lien and in the favor of XYZ bank. No. No loan can be granted against FD held by another bank because it is the other bank's right. The other bank might have a right of lien over that. We cannot get that. We cannot take that FD. We cannot give loan against that FD. Loan, XYZ bank can grant a guardian a loan against the minor FD if it is for minor's education. Yes, it can for minor. See, if the person is using the money for themselves, then they will not get a loan. But for the minor's education, it will. They'll get a loan. The bank must note the lien in its fixed deposit register and on the FD receipts in Mr. Rohan's case to ensure no wrongful payment occurs. Exactly correct. All the statements except 3 are correct. That will give us D as the correct answer. D is the correct answer. Next question. Next question is on the screen. Statement number 2 is incorrect. Assets with wide price fluctuation are not preferred. Assets with wide price fluctuations are not preferred. Statement number 2 is incorrect. Those are correct. That will give us A as the correct answer. Next question. Secured and unsecured loans. Unsecured loans are also termed clean loans. They are also termed clean loans. It is not secured ones, it is unsecured ones. Step number 2 is incorrect. The moment 2 gets incorrect, we eliminate all of these and get B as the correct answer. What? We have to tell what is correct. Correct is correct. Okay. Let's see statement number 5. All secured loans are granted without assessing the borrower's future solvency. Even a secured loan, future solvency of the borrower is important. 2 is incorrect, 5 is incorrect. That will give us 1, 3 and 4 as correct. We have to tell what is correct. That is, let's make E as an option. It is 1, 3 and 4. Correct one is 1, 3, 4. Incorrect one will be 2 and 5. It is E. E is the correct answer. Next question. Last question from this unit. Which of the following statements regarding land and buildings as security for bank advance are correct? Lands and buildings are not self-liquidating assets. They are not self-liquidating assets. They cannot be converted into cash easily. The moment statement number 1 gets incorrect, we eliminate B and D. Statement number 3. Under valuation of the land and building is simple due to uniform construction standard. No. Valuation is very difficult. You cannot determine. We have to first check where the property is, situated, how the property is, what is the market price of that area. The property, suppose this is a piece of property in Uttarakhand. It might cost, if it is on the highway, it will cost, suppose, just example, 10 crore rupees. If it is in the rural area, it will cost maybe 4-5 lakh rupees. If it is in the other areas, it might cost 1 lakh rupees. It is not just as example. Everything depends upon the situation. Everything depends upon the location. Everything depends upon the market conditions. So statement number 3 is incorrect. Others are correct. That will give us C as the correct answer. C is the correct answer. Next, now we have different modes of charging security. Here we have talked about assignment, lien, set off, hypothecation, pledge. If these are the forms where how to create a charge. Mortgage is used for immovable property. Assignment is for books for actionable claim. Lien in set off cannot be done simultaneously. Lien means when I have taken a loan from the bank and there is some amount that the bank has to pay me, and that amount has matured. Bank can say, will not pay that amount to you unless you pay off the loan. Instead of, what bank will do is, they'll say, we have some amount of you have some amount of us, let's cancel that amount, let's cancel the mutual debt. If bank says that there is an FD in my name, I have a FD of 5 lakh rupees and I have a loan taken from the bank of 3 lakh rupees. Bank can say, will not pay you the whole 5 lakh rupees, will pay you just 2 lakh rupees, let's cancel out your loan. This is set off. Can bank set off randomly? No. For set off or lien, there should be a loan on my end which I am not paying, and for them there should be an amount which they have to pay me and which is matured. Hypothecation and pledge are again the same thing. They are for the movable property, but hypothecation happens when the property is in the possession of the party borrower, and pledge means the possession of the property is given to the bank. Mortgage is for immovable property. Right of appropriation has 3 steps. When person has taken a lot of loan and they give a lump sum money, towards which loan will we appropriate that? So if the customer gives the instructions, we follow that. If the customer does not give any instruction, bank follows their wish. Whatever bank finds is for whatever money they want to appropriate, it is their choice. If both the bank and the customer does not appropriate, it is the law. What we see, the law says that the property, the oldest loan goes first. Registration of charge means, what is charge? Charge means the charge created of a property. If a company has taken a loan, you have to get your charge registered within 30 days with the registrar of the company. If any person has taken a loan, there is a loan or charge over any property, you get that charge registered with SARSAI. The one who gets the charge registered first gets the priority. Suppose I've taken a loan from PNB and SBI together. Suppose first from SBI, second from PNB, and the PNB first gets it registered. It is the PNB who will get the priority. There are two types of charges, floating and fixed. I've explained this to you. You know this. You can read this. Let's attempt question number 1. Question number 1 is on the screen. Question number 1 is on the screen. C is the correct answer. Statement number 2 is incorrect. Statement number 2 is incorrect. As for the duty to pay deficit, if the pledged goods are not sold and the amount released is less than the outstanding debt, the owner is liable to pay the remaining amount. Yes, he is. Which of the following statements are correct regarding remuneration to an agent under the agency law? There is no compulsory remuneration to be given to an agent. Statement number, all the statements given on the screen are correct. All the statements given on the screen are correct. That will give us D as the correct answer. Which of the following statements are correct in the context of equitable mortgage? Equitable mortgage means where I have given the property purpose to the bank and taken a loan against it. Under the equitable mortgage requires physical delivery of the original title deed in the notified towns, and the property mortgage can be situated anywhere in India. Yes, statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 2 is incorrect. Equitable mortgage does not require a written or an unregistered mortgage. It do not require. Every mortgage requires a registered deed, a mortgage deed, but equitable mortgage does not. Other statements given on the screen are correct except 2. That will give us D as the correct answer. D as the Next, which of the following statements are correct in reference to the banker's right to set off? Set off means what happens? What happens in set off? That we are cancelling the debts. We are cancelling the debts. All the rights that are given on the screen are correct. D is the correct answer. D is the correct answer. Next, which of the following statements are correct in the context of contract law under the Indian Contract Act? Consent is not considered free if it is obtained by coercion. Yes, it is not. And such contract will be void ab initio. No. Such contracts will be voidable. Such contracts will be voidable. A minor's consent contract is void ab initio, and even if the minor receives the benefits under the agreement, yes. Though minor cannot contract themselves, a contract entered by them on by a guardian on behalf of the minor will be valid. Yes, it will be. 2 and 3 are correct. B is the correct answer. Next, Mr. A, a customer of XYZ Bank, has an outstanding loan account that has been classified as a substandard asset due to irregular conduct. He also maintained a savings bank account with the same bank. Mr. A issues a check of 15,000 in the favor of electricity company and deposits exactly 15,000 in the savings bank account. He informs the bank in writing that the deposit is only for the clearing and said check and not for the repayment of the overdue loan. Despite this, the bank, citing his overdue loan, transferred the 15,000 rupees from the saving bank account to the housing loan account without honoring the check. Mr. A challenges this action, citing Section 59 of the Indian Contract Act. In the case above, evaluate the correctness of the situation regarding right of appropriation. We always appropriate as per the customer. We always appropriate as per the customer. Here, the bank did wrong. Section 59 of the Indian Contract Act supports the bank action to appropriate the funds of the housing loan. Even if the debtor has specified a different use, first we listen to the customer. If customer does not tell us, we use it as per our own wish. Bank should have honored the request of Mr. A. The debtor specifies the purpose of the payment. The creditor must honor it. The creditor must honor it. Statement number 2 is correct. Incorrect. 1 is correct. Wherever 2 is mentioned, let's eliminate that. 3 and 4 are common. Let's see 5. The concept of right of appropriation is different from right of set-off. The former applies to the payment made voluntarily by the debtor, and the later applies for the adjusting of the maturity claim. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is correct. A is the correct answer. A is the correct answer. Which of the following statements are correct in the context of contract of bailment? Bailment requires a delivery of goods based on the contract where the bailee must return the goods and dispose of them as per the bailor's direction after the purpose is achieved. Correct. Statement number 2. The money deposited into the bank account to be credited in the credit depositor's name constitute a contract of bailment. Since the bank is holding the customers, no, it is the contract of debtor. It is a relationship of a debtor and creditor, not a bailee and a bailor. Not of a bailee and a bailor. Statement number 2 is incorrect. Bailee and a bailor kaun hota hai? We have talked about this in the first unit, right? Bailee means the person who has taken the goods for some specific purpose. Bailor means who have given the goods for some specific purpose. The owner of the goods is the bailor. The bailee is the one who is getting the purpose done. Debtor and creditor mean the person has given you the money and you are liable to pay him back when the demand is made. In the case of bailment, if we are giving, so in the case when we are giving the money to the bank, we are creating a relationship of a debtor and creditor, not of a bailee and bailor. The money is not for any specific purpose. The money is to be deposited in the account. Statement number 2 is incorrect. That will give us A as the correct answer. Which of the following statements are correct regarding hypothecation? Hypothecation means the property's possession stays with the owner of the property. The major drawback of hypothecation is people do fraud. Hypothecation offers strong control to the lender since the possession of the goods remain with the bank. No, the possession is with the buyer, with the borrower. C is the correct answer. Which of the following statements related to enforcement of mortgage by banks and financial institutions are correct? Please reply to this question. This is an important question. I need everybody to reply. I need every single one of you to reply. I'm not going to reply to this question. It is you who is going to reply to me. Hello, sir. C. Equitable mortgage is the most common used mortgage by banks. Yes, it is. We deposit the title deed and the mortgage is done. This is the most common mortgage in India. Okay. Under section 69 of the TPA, the mortgagee can sell the mortgage property without court intervention only in the specific cases, including when the mortgage is English mortgage and both parties are not Hindu, Muslim and Buddhist. This is correct. If it is an English mortgage, the sale is already made. We do not need court's intervention. Even if sale under section 69 is made without meeting the proper condition, the purchaser's title cannot be challenged, but the mortgagor may sue the mortgagee for damages. Can the mortgagor sue for the damages? Yes. Even if the sale is improper, the purchaser title is protected, but the aggrieved party can claim damages. The SARFAESI Act allows bank to enforce security interest without court intervention, but only if the outstanding dues is exceeding 1 lakh rupees and it is more than 20% of the actual loan. Statement number 4 is also correct. Statement number 5. The mortgage under the CPC, the mortgage suit must be filed in the jurisdiction where the lender is located or the loan was sanctioned regardless of the property location. This is incorrect. Mortgage suit must be filed in the jurisdiction where the mortgage property is situated, not where the lender is located. Statement number 5 is incorrect. Where the property is situated, where we see that determines the jurisdiction. Statement number 6. When proceeding through civil courts, the enforcement involved in the preliminary decree followed by a final decree, after which the mortgage decree can be sold. This is correct. First we get the preliminary decree and then we get the final decree. And after final decree, the sale can happen. During execution of the mortgage decree in civil courts, the property can be sold without requiring a separate attachment order from the court. Yes, the decree holder can sell the property without attachment order if the final decree is obtained. Statement number 6 and 7 are also correct. That will give us everything without 5. B is the correct answer. B is the correct answer. Next question. See, in this question you can see there is not just one law that came into play. We got TPA, we got Contract Act, we got Surface Act, we got CPC. So if you think कि एक unit से एक question आएगा, नहीं, it is not going to be one unit one question. It is going to be any unit any question. Is there any echo? Is there any echo? Are you hearing any echo sound? Is my voice repeating? Is my voice clear to everybody? Is there any echo? Yeah, I don't hear any echo, Mohanji. Yes, please attempt the question on the screen. Please attempt the question on the screen. Which of the following statements regarding the essentials of a valid contract are correct? A bid at an auction is considered a proposal and becomes a promise as soon as the auctioneer accepts it. Yes, देखो, you are at an auction. Yes. If you are hearing any echo, please leave the session and you may join again. If there is some issue, please let me know. At any point you find yourself having any doubt, write that in the chat section. Chaliye, let's so suppose you are at an auction, okay? So there is an auctioneer who is saying this is what this is suppose the price, this is a good that you want to buy, okay? You want to buy this good. So there is an auctioneer who is selling this. He has priced this. You will put your handle up, you'll ask for ladle up, you'll ask for the amount, right? You put your bid. The moment you put your bid and the auctioneer accepts that bid, you have offered the amount and the auctioneer has accepted it. The moment a promise offer gets accepted, it becomes a promise. The moment a promise adds with a consideration, promise plus consideration is agreement. Agreement plus legally enforceable is a contract. Okay. Statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 2 is also correct. A written and unregistered promise made out of love and affection is a gift. If it is a written and unregistered, we do not need to pay consideration. Consideration is an essential part of a contract, but when it is made out of love and affection, we do not need consideration. We do not pay consideration for gifts. Statement number 2 is correct. Statement number 3. An agreement to sell immovable property is enforceable even if it is oral. For agreement to sell immovable property is a mandate that you write that down. Sale deed should be written and registered. Statement number 3 is incorrect. The moment statement number 3 gets incorrect, we get A as the correct answer. Sale deed should be written. A contract signed under the threat of filing a genuine police complaint is not considered coercion. there is a genuine police complaint. यहाँ पे you are not doing any coercion, you are not manipulating somebody. It is an unlawful threat. Only unlawful threat makes coercion. For a genuine complaint, it does not make a coercion. A contract made by a minor can be ratified after he attains majority if he chooses to accept the obligation. No, a contract with a minor is void ab initio. It cannot be ratified. It cannot be rectified. Statement number 3 and 5 are incorrect. A is the correct answer. No, Sushil ji, it is A. A is the correct answer. Now we have documentation, a very easy unit. What all documents do we need to take a loan? Are just the documents enough to give a loan? No. Okay. So there are some concepts that you need to know. There is DPN, bill of exchange, agreement and forms. Please go through this. Question number 1 is on the screen. See, I need you to keep on replying to me because it is not my exam. I've said this again and again. Keep on replying. Attempting the question now and replying them to is going to help you in the exams. Which of the following best describes the difference in stamp duty traded on DPN and hypothecation agreement? The stamp duty on DPM is uniform across the India, but hypothecation varies from state to state. Hypothecation varies from state to state. Have you clicked hypothecation? How will you know this is an answer? Why? Because see, the price rate of every state is different. Okay? The rate of putting a car on the road, the out of showroom price are different. Why? Because the RC charges are different. The registration charges are different. So the hypothecation charges on the hypothecation, suppose a car is, suppose a Creta, there is a Creta, okay, highest model is of 21 lakh rupees in Uttarakhand, but the same might be for 20 lakh rupees in Uttar Pradesh. Because there are changes in the state, there are changes in the state laws. Now as per that, there is change in the hypothecations there, because we are asking for the loan for 21 lakh or 20 lakh, and that will change our duty, that will change our stamp duty. So it will vary upon the state. Next, a bank wants to grant a loan to a minor for purchasing a laptop for his education. Which of the following statements are correct? Can a bank grant loan to a minor? See, loan can be granted for necessity, but the sign of guardian is compulsory. C is the correct answer. Question number 3. A bank sanctioned a term loan to private limited company. However, it mistakenly used the document set applicable for individuals and failed to modify borrower type options in the pre-printed form. Which of the following is the likely consequence? The loan documents may be legally challenged for improper execution, because we need to ourselves cancel out the extra part. There is no proper documentation, so they can be challenged. Next, which of the following statements about loan documentations are correct? The demand promissory note is used when the fixed repayment period is not specified, and it is signed by the borrower to repay the loan on demand when the agreed terms or the agreed interest. Yes. The form of the DPN varies depending upon the type of the interest, whether fixed or floating, and the number of borrowers, single or joint. Yes. The stamp duty on DPN varies from state to state. No, it is uniform throughout the country. Agreements such as pledge or hypothecation are used to outline the terms and conditions of a loan, including interest rate, repayment period, and security charges. Yes. Forms are used to specify borrower's intention, such as authorizing a bank to make payment to supplier from the loan proceeds. Yes. 1, 2, 4, and 5 are correct. That will give us B as the correct answer. B is the correct answer. Next question. Yes, Sushilji. Next question. Which of the following are correct regarding Indian Stamp Act? Please attempt the question. Statement number 1 is correct, 2 is incorrect. Pre-printed forms require careful selection based on the specific loan type and the borrowers. Statement number 3 is correct, 4 is correct, 5 is not correct because adhesive stamp is not cancelled. There is a duty to cancel it. An adhesive stamp, if not cancelled, the documents remain valid. And adhesive, देखो, I have told you in the morning that a stamp paper, document can be on a stamp paper. Stamp paper ऐसा होता है. It is of pink or green or blue color, and the amount is written in the between. There is a sign, there is a stamp of the quote, ठीक है, ऐसे कलर printed होता है, and you write contents here. And there is a piece of paper on which you put a small stamp. This small stamp is cancelled by the notary, and that stamp is signed as well. If the stamp is not cancelled, it is not a proper document. If there is a requirement of a stamp, there is a requirement that the document should be on the stamp paper, then you need this. If this is, either you use this one, or if you're using this one, you need that stamp to be cancelled. The cancellation of stamp is important. This will give us C as the correct answer. Next question. Statement number 1, 3, 4, 5 are correct because stamp duty for certain documents are uniform across the states. Statement number 2 is incorrect. PPB have 70% law. Blank field in the pre-printed form of document should be left unfilled. No, we cancel that out. Statement number 2 is incorrect. The moment 2 gets incorrect, we eliminate C and D. 1, 3, 4 are common. Let's see 5, 6 and 7. If the documents are executed with alteration, the full signature of the executant is not required. It is a requirement. Full signatures are required to authenticate. Statement number 5 is incorrect. Let's see why 6 is also incorrect. The bankers can legally act on a document even after the limitation period has expired, as long as the document is properly filed. Law says that you can file a case against a person within 3 years. This is the period of limitation. For recovery of money, it is 3 years. After passing of those 3 years, you cannot file a case. At any cost you cannot, because law says that if you are sleeping upon your right, you cannot ask when you wake up. Randomly you cannot go to court and say ki case file karna, I want to file a case. No. You see the law. Law is there for the people who are vigilant about their rights. Your proper documentation won't help you. If the limitation period has expired, no money can be given to you. Is the correct answer. Next. Under section 25(3) of the Contract Act, what is required to review the time barred debt? See, time barred debt, I told you. Time barred debt means when you cannot file a case. That is the time barred debt. So an acknowledgement by a witness in court? No. And a written and signed promise to pay either in whole or in part by the debtor. A payment made for a partial amount without any written acknowledgement. What is required to revive a time barred debt? देखो, time barred debt है, ठीक है? You had a right to file a case by you had a cause of action arising on 2025. 3 years time, the period of limitation was 3 years. 1/1/2028 तक you can file a case. Period of limitation ends. Time barred debt means now if you want to file a case after this time, you cannot. You cannot. If a person makes a payment here, this will not revive your period of limitation. If a partial payment is made without any written acknowledgement, it won't help. You have to give a new promise stating ki I'll make the payment. You make a new contract. Of repayment. If a person is good, he'll make a new contract. Otherwise, your money is gone. There is 0.01% only who will agree to pay you now. Because your legal rights have done with. They'll say, Arey, kya kar loge? What will you do? You can't do anything. Here, so the written and signed promise to pay either a whole or part by the debtor will revive the debt, because the moment the new contract is made, this will start your new cause of action. Even if you pay something after the time bar, you will not get anything. You cannot get a right again. अगर मैं यहाँ पे दोबारा पेमेंट कर दूँ, if I make the payment before the expiry of the time, if I make the payment on 1/1/2027, this will revive my time period. This will start a new period of limitation. From here, will be a new limitation period by 1/1/2030. I'll get time to file a case. So it will be B. B is the correct answer. B is the correct answer. I hope it was clear. There was nothing of confusion here. Do you want me to explain the last question again? Question number 28 is on the screen. Please see. Here we have talked about NPA, the IRAC norms. This is a unit where there are a lot of things said. Okay, this is a unit which have a lot of content in it, so you need to go through this. Okay, Pavitra ji. See, in the morning class I told you, देखो, what happens in the limitation law na? What happens in limitation law? There is 3 years time. There is a 3-year time to file a case. Okay? Your cause of action. Cause of action means you get a right to file a case. Arose on 1/1/2025. You have 3 years time to file a case. The period of limitation ends on, that is, your limitation period ends on, that your right to file a case ends on 1/1/2028. 3 years. If I acknowledge my debt within these 3 years, or if I acknowledge my debt in these 3 years, or if I make a written promise, that I'll make, if I acknowledge my debt, if either within these 3 years, if I acknowledge my debt in writing, or I make a partial payment before 1/1/2028. If I acknowledge the debt before 1/1/2028, or I make a partial payment for the debt before 2028, my time period of 3 years will restart. Suppose I made a repayment on 1/1/2027. If I made a partial repayment, suppose I owed you 5 lakh rupees, I paid you 1 lakh rupees, even if I paid you 50,000 rupees, even if I paid you 5,000 rupees, my period of limitation will start again. That is, I'll again get 3 more years. My limitation period will revive from 1/1/2027 till 1/1/2030. This is what the law says. But if your debt is a time barred, that is, you have not done anything, you have not gotten a right, you have not filed a case before this. If you have not filed a case by this time, okay? If you have not filed a case after this time, that is, your debt is time barred. Your debt will become time barred. That is, अब time हो गया. Now you are not allowed to file the case. Suppose I gave an acknowledgement on 1st 2027. I gave an acknowledgement. The new time period started, but I didn't even file the case by this time. My case will become time barred. That is, I cannot file a case now. I cannot file a case at any situation now. Now, if I come out of good heart and I say, one day randomly I say, I'm very sick, I was like thinking, kisi ki shayad, I'm not, somebody said, must have, I've done something bad to somebody. Okay? Randomly one day, something happened to me on 1/1/2031. I woke up and I thought, ki nahi, I have to pay your debt. I have to pay your debt. So I can do what? I can make a new agreement with you. New agreement stating to promise you for repayment. If I make a new promise to you, your cause of action, your time barred debt will revive. Your cause of action, new cause of action will arise if I do not make a payment to you then. If I promise to you, ki ma'am, within a year I'll pay you. If I do not pay you within a year, your new cause of action can start and your time barred debt will revive. Is now that clear to you? Is this now clear to you, Pavitra ji? Please read what I have written on the screen so that it is easier for you to understand. है ना? पढ़ लो आप एक बारी. Anybody having any doubt? No. That talks about the non NPAs. When will an account become NPA? What will happen? The SMA 0, SMA 1, SMA 2. What to do, when to do, how to do, all of these things we have talked about in too much detail in the morning class. Let's attempt the questions. This is a synthesis of all the chart. When will the account become SMA? For first month, if I have not made the account, if I have not paid the amount, it is SMA 0. For the second month, it will be SMA 1. For the second month, for the third month, basically, it will be SMA 2. Classification of income, provisioning, etc. etc. Question number 1 is on the screen now. Question number 1 is on the screen. C is the correct answer. A record of recovery of dues. Next question. Which of the following statement is correct in the as per RBI income recognition norms of NPA? Interest should not be charged on NPAs. We do not charge interest on NPAs, right? Fees commission for rescheduled loan must be recognized on accrual basis for the period of reconstructed loan, not immediately. Not immediately. Statement number 2 is incorrect. The moment 2 gets incorrect, we get A as the correct answer. Let's see why statement number 5 is incorrect. Bank must include memorandum account entries on unpaid interest in gross advance for reporting NPAs. No, interest records in memorandum account should not be included in gross advances. It is for the internal tracking. I have explained this to you in the morning that we deem that the interest that is coming to us is on accrual basis. If there is no repayment to you for the rent, for the EMIs, if there is an account become an NPA, we recredit this. We recredit it. Okay, and we put the interest that is getting accrued in a separate account. We do not deem that as a income of ours. We put that aside कि अगर कल payment आएगी तो we'll calculate that. If payment comes tomorrow, we'll calculate it. We'll use it. We do not use this for gross advances. Accrued interest on leased asset classified as NPA must be reversed if unrealized. Yes. आपको मैंने बताया था, I told you this in the morning as well, सुशील जी, कि for the first 3 months we deem that the money is coming. हम सोच रहे हैं पैसे आ जाएंगे, दे देगा पैसे, सामने वाला पार्टी दे देगी पैसे. The other party will give us the money. Whatever, and the other party does not, the account eventually becomes NPA. We have deemed for the 3 months that the money is going to get come. चलो, let's do this. ठीक है? Let me write this down. देखो, there's a timeline. On every 3rd I make the payment. ठीक है? 3rd April, 3rd May, 3rd June, 3rd July. ठीक है? 3rd August. I've paid the EMIs for these months, but I have not paid the EMIs for this. Okay. First month, every month, even if the money has not come, we'll deem that the money is coming. We are on the accrual basis. Interest is calculated on the accrual basis. So every third, even if the money has not come, we'll calculate that. So हमने जून का मनी भी calculate कर लिया. Suppose the interest was 5 rupees, 500 rupees. We have calculated the interest for July month as well. It is 500 rupees. We have calculated the interest for on the accrual basis. We have calculated this. This is 500 rupees. We have deemed that as per the accrual basis, 1500 rupees have come. But there was no money given by the customer to us because the account is now NPA. ऐसा हमने सोच लिया है that the money is come. We have deemed that the money has come, but the money has actually not come. So what will happen to this 1500? आए तो नहीं है हमारे पास पैसे, हमने अपने accounts में लिख लिया. We have written this in an account, but the money has not come. What will we do? We will revert this. We'll put that कि हमारे को losses हुए and there is the account has become NPA and the amount is not realized. We now will revert this amount. We'll revert this amount and we'll put, if we have put it in the profit side at this, losses this side in the P&L account. हमने यहाँ पे already accrual basis पे we are written out. In the loss side we'll write that the account has become NPA and there is no 1500 rupees that we have received. So that the amount written here and the amount written here is equalized. The amount is nullified. Okay. The accrued interest on leased asset classified as NPA must be reversed. Yes, it must be reversed if unrealized. Banks may include memorandum account entries for unpaid interest. We say that the moment the account becomes unpaid, now NPA, we stop calculating interest. We want the amount to come as. Yes, only after becoming NPA we calculate it on cash basis. Now we say that पैसे दे दो, the money that we have given to you, give that money back to us. We do not need interest. Just give us the money that we have given to you, so that the money is given back to us. Yeah? But what we'll do, we'll not keep on writing the interest. We'll not keep on accruing the interest. But we will keep that interest. These 500 rupees will be kept written down in the memorandum account. So this is an unpaid interest. So that when there is a realization of profit, we can say देखो interest तो आपने देना ही है. This is the amount that you have to pay. This is the base amount. But there is an interest that you also have to pay. Pay that to us as well. We do not keep that amount in our advances. We do not keep that amount in our books of accounts. But we make a separate account that this is the money that we were supposed to earn. Because of you we didn't earn. Now you pay us. Is this now clear, Pavitra ji? Interest recorded in memorandum should not be included in gross advances. We ask this money after when we are realizing the property, when we are selling this, we are using this for internal tracking. We do not consider them as an advance. We do not consider them as an income of us. जब realization होगा तब मांगेंगे. That is why we are keeping this account. Where, Pavitra ji, where are you getting confused? What is the exact point that you have not understood? I'll repeat that. Do you understand Hindi? Do you understand हिंदी पवित्रा जी? ठीक है, देखो सोचेंगे हर महीने EMI आनी है. ठीक है, हर महीने हमें EMI आनी है. 3 months तक EMIs नहीं आएंगी तो अकाउंट NPA बन जाएगा. 3 months कंटिन्यूसली EMI नहीं आई, पर हम हर महीने सोच लेंगे जिस दिन EMI आनी होती है ना, हम हर महीने विल डीम दैट पैसे आ गए, EMI आ गई है. 3 months तक EMI नहीं आई तब अकाउंट NPA बना. 3 महीने तक हमने सोचा कि हमारे पास पैसे आ गए, हमने अपने एडवांसेस मान लिए, हमने सोचा कि अरे इनकम हुई है, प्रॉफिट्स हुए हैं. नाउ आफ्टर द अकाउंट बिकम्स एनपीए वी नो कि अरे पैसे तो नहीं आए, हमने तो इसको सोच लिया था हमारा प्रॉफिट हुआ, वी थॉट दैट दिस इज आवर इनकम, दिस इज आवर इनकम. नाउ व्हाट वी हैव टू डू इज वी विल हैव टू रिवर्ट दैट बैक. हमें इसको लॉसेस में दिखाना पड़ेगा कि नहीं हमारे पास पैसे नहीं आए, वी जस्ट डीम्ड इट. सो विल हैव टू शो दैट अमाउंट दैट वी हैव इनकर्ड एज लॉसेस. विल नॉट डिलीट द एंट्रीज, विल राइट दैट एज लॉसेस की अकाउंट हैज बिकम एनपीए. नाउ अब अकाउंट एनपीए बन गया, अब हम सोच रहे हैं कब पैसे आएंगे. What we want from the customer is कि जो base पैसे दिए, whatever the loan that we have given to them, at least they give that back to us. At least let's get our interest base back. But we are in the hope कि एक दिन customer शायद पैसे दे दे, तो क्या हम interest calculations छोड़ देंगे? नहीं. Will not stop the interest calculation. Will keep that interest. Will keep an account of the interest in memorandum account. कि अगर हमारे को customer पैसे दे देगा तो हम interest भी मांग लेंगे उससे. ठीक है. बट क्या ये इंटरेस्ट हमने कमा लिया है? हैव वी अर्नड दिस? हैव वी अर्नड दिस अमाउंट? नो, दिस अमाउंट इज नॉट येट अर्नड. दिस इज नॉट आवर एडवांस. दिस इज नॉट आवर मनी. वी माइट गेट इट, दैट इज व्हाई वी हैव केप्ट इट इन मेमोरेंडम अकाउंट. अब ठीक है. Is it okay now, Pavitra ji? We are not correcting, we are keeping a record of it. That if the customer makes a proper suppose आपने मेरे पास मैंने एक प्रॉपर्टी दे रखी है आपको, है ना? I have given you this property. This property is with you. If suppose आप नहीं, मैं पैसे नहीं दे रही हूँ आपको. This is a property with you. I am not giving you money. Eventually you'll have to sell this. Will you sell it just for the base price? No, you'll ask for the interest ना, कि पैसे इंटरेस्ट भी तो दो. इंटरेस्ट का है मेरा, बट इंटरेस्ट आप मांग नहीं सकते. आपकी यू वांट कि पूरे पैसे आ जाए, बट यू जस्ट नीड कि एटलीस्ट लेट्स गिव मी द बेस प्राइस. सो विल कीप ऑन कैलकुलेटिंग द इंटरेस्ट. We'll keep on calculating the interest, that if someday the payment gets made, we'll get this amount. But our hope is that we get the base amount. So we do not calculate this amount till we get the money. Interest को हम तब तक नहीं count करेंगे as our profit till we actually receive it. That is why it is not our income. It is not our advance. It is nothing for us. It is just a record for us कि कल को पैसे मांगने होंगे तो मैं interest भी मांग सकती हूँ. Yes, we are keeping a record of it. Yes. Banks are required to make provisions for country risk with effect from which financial year end? It was 2003, March 31st, 23. Next. ABC Bank has reported the following figures as of March 31. Substandard assets 40 crores. Gross NPA 500 crores. मतलब पूरे साल में they have lost so much. Provisions held for NPA, that is some provisions that we make for NPAs, it is 120 crores. DICGC ECGC claims received and held as 30 crores. Suspense account balance. Suspense account क्या होता है? What is suspense account? Suspense account में we put incomes that is the less of the incomes, right? Part payment from borrowers 20 crores. Sundry account, excess of income. Interest capitalization of reconstructed NPAs, that is we have sold the NPAs. It is 10 crore. Floating provisions not used for tier 2 capital 40 crore. Based on the above, calculate net NPA. Calculate net NPA. How to do that? Net NPA का फॉर्मूला होता है net NPA is equals to gross NPA minus all the deductions. Net NPA is equals to gross NPA minus deduction. What is gross NPA? Gross NPA is equals to substandard assets plus gross एक मिनट Yes. So the gross advances का फॉर्मूला होता है gross advance is equals to substandard asset, not substandard, it is standard asset, standard asset plus gross NPA. ठीक है. Deductions में क्या क्या आएंगे? What all are these deductions? These are the deduction. This is a deduction. Provision held for NPA. This is my deduction. Okay. Is the screen frozen for everybody? Yes, it is. It is not. Sushil ji, my YouTube video is working fine. The video on my YouTube is perfectly working. I don't know what is wrong. Let's close the screen for a minute. Now are you able to see? Are you able to see? Actually, the video on the YouTube is perfectly fine. Let me connect to Mahesh sir. Okay. So if everything is fine, are you able to hear me now? Chalo. I'm going to start now. Okay, let's start. So I was telling you about gross advances. There was a formula that I was telling you. Substandard, net NPA is equals to gross NPA minus the deductions. Gross advances is equals to substandard assets plus gross NPA. ठीक है. Deductions में क्या क्या आएगा? What are the things that will come in deductions? Provisions held in the case of NPA. Provisions held in the case of NPA. So this is a deduction. Then what will come in deduction? The next is DICGC claim received and held pending. They are held pending, right? They are pending. So this is a deduction. This is a deduction. Then part payment received from the suspense account and balance of the sundry account. This is also a deduction. Okay, and the floating provisions are also the deductions. The floating provisions are also the deductions. They are also the deductions. Now let's calculate it. You have to give me a next time. There is a freezing happening. There is a network issue that I'm facing. अब हमारे को the gross NPA is given to us. The gross NPA is given to us. अब deductions में we know that the deductions are 120 crores. The deductions are 30 crores. So 120 crores plus 30 crores plus 20 crores from the suspense account plus under account का 10 crore and plus 40 crore of the other account. This is 120 plus 30, 150, 150 plus 20, 160, 70, 80, 180 and this is 220. It is going to be, the total is 220 and the total is 220. The total is 220. The provision not used for tier 2 is 40 crore. We have not used this. If the provisions which are not used are not deductions. If the provisions were used, it will be a deduction. If the provision used, it will be a deduction. If they are not used, then it is not a deduction. So it is 120 crore plus 30 crore plus 20 crore plus 10 crore. That will give us the total deductions are, total deduction is equals to 120 plus 30 plus 20 plus 10, which will be equal to 180 crore. Okay? Gross NPA is given to us. Gross NPA is 500 crore. Gross NPA is 500 crore. Gross NPA is 500 crore minus 180 crore. This will give us 320 crore. That is B. B is the correct answer. B is the correct answer. There is no policy solution given to us. This is the correct answer. This is the correct answer. Do you want me to explain it again? Deductions में क्या क्या आएगा? What all things will come in deductions? Whatever amount we have kept aside for these NPAs. The NPAs के लिए provisions. The claim that is received but are held, the suspense account, the amount that is in excess and the amount that is at less amount, excess and less both, and the floating provisions that will also come in deductions, but they are not used. If they were said, if the floating provisions used भी आ जाता या नहीं लिखा होता bracket वाला part, we would have added 40,000 more. We would have added 40,000 more. Okay? We have to make sure that the amount, the word not is written, and that will give us, that will make the changes. If this not word was not used, then we would have minused 40 more thousand and then we would have gotten 280 crores. Next, question number 5. For doubtful one classification, for willful defaulters, we keep 100 provisions. Next, question number 6. Question number 6. Statement number 1 and 2 are correct. Third is not. Banks are explicitly advised not to rely on declaration from the borrowing company. Next, consider the following statement regarding NPA and related definitions. Identify which of them are correct. Which of them are correct? Statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 2 is not correct. Out of order status requires no credit for 90 days. It is written 60. It is actually 90 days. 1 is correct. 2 is incorrect. The moment 2 gets incorrect, we eliminate C and D. Third is also incorrect. For a loan of long season, NPA as a principal interest is overdue for 1 season. 1. It is overdue over 1 crop season. Short term के लिए it is 2 crop seasons. For long term it is 1 crop season. Statement number 3 is also incorrect. That will give us B as the correct answer. Next, which of the following statements regarding the income recognition and NPA are not correct? We have to tell what are not correct. The word not plays a very important role in your MCQs. Income from NPA is recognized on accrual basis. No, it is not. It is on cash basis. It is on cash basis. The moment one gets incorrect, we eliminate A and C and D. 2, 3, 5 are common. Let's see 6. Interest income on NPA may be taken on income account even if the recovery is made for fresh additional credit facilities. This is incorrect. Interest realized from NPA is taken from income only when it is sourced. Statement number 6 is incorrect. Even statement number 4 is incorrect. Fees and commissions for rescheduling a loan must be recognized entirely upfront. Fees and commission for rescheduled loans are recognized over a period of time. They are not recognized upfront. They are recognized over a period of time. That will give us 2, 3, 5 as the correct answer. Oh, so 2, 3, 5 are correct. 1, 4, 6 are incorrect. We have to tell incorrect. देखो मैंने mark भी करा and then I made mistake. Next. Last question from this unit. Net advances is equals to gross advances minus deduction. Net anything is equals to gross minus deduction. Net advance हो, net NPO, net liabilities हो, it is always log advance gross minus deduction. Okay? Statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 2 is not correct. Floating provisions are deducted while calculating net provisions if they are not utilized. If they are not utilized, is the correct answer. Next, we have these 3 laws. Okay? The 5 laws are here. SARFAESI, bankruptcy, DRT, this LSA and Limitation Act. 5 laws. बहुत law है इसमें. A lot of law. All the banking law is there. If you think the question will not come from here, it is impossible. 3 marks minimum from this unit is going to come. Minimum 3, I am telling you. So you need to be thorough with the whole 5 units. I have explained these units to you in way too much detail. If you have any doubt at any law, because DRT is an organization where we go for the debt recoveries. If your loan is more than 20 lakh rupees, you can go to DRT. For SARFAESI, you do not need to go to any tribunal or court. You can just go and acquire the property. But the loan should be at least 20%. The amount remaining should be at least 20% and it should be above 1 lakh. For bankruptcy code, it is actually for the corporate entities, how to follow, what to follow if the insolvency and bankruptcy happens. Legal Service Authority Act is an act which tells us to go to Lok Adalats. DRT account matlab? What, Sushiji? LSA is that do not go to court, go to Lok Adalats, get your matter resolved. Why are we saying that not go to court, not go to courts? They all are the provisions where we do not need to go to court, whether it is DRT, whether it is SARFAESI, whether it is IBC. Because they are saying, court jaoge, time waste hoga. If you go to court, the time will get wasted. So rather than going to court, go to DRT. Go under SARFAESI or go under NCLT. NCLT is में जाते हैं under IBC. NCLT is National Law Complaint Tribunal. Lok Adalat, LSA is saying go to Lok Adalat. And the Limitation Act is saying that every case should be filed within the time period. DRT account is more than, if the amount is more than equal to 20 lakh rupees, you can go. If the loan amount is more than equal to 20 lakh rupees, you can go to DRT. You can go to DRT. More than equal to. actually. These are the notes. You can find these notes. These are very important notes for you. They are specifically talking about this page. This is talking about the CAIIB timeline. This is an important point from IBC. That is Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. You need to know the difference between insolvency and bankruptcy. Insolvency is a situation where you do not have money to pay off your creditor, and bankruptcy is a declaration from the court of insolvency. When you got yourself declared from the court that I do not have any money. There is CAIRP. CAIRP ka shorter version is FIRP, when you get the contents done of the CAIRP in lesser time. And FIRP is pre-packed insolvency. This is for MSMEs only. You go to liquidation if your COC, that is committee of creditor, is saying 66% are saying that we do not want to waste time in CAIRP. Let's go to liquidation. We have a waterfall mechanism in IBC, which I have taught in details to everybody. I cannot explain this right now because we do not have much time. It is already 11:30 and we have a lot of law to do. We have a lot of MCQs to attempt. So this is the difference between DRT, SURFACE and IBC, which you will go through at any cost. Next, question number 1. What is the limitation period for filing a suit money lent under the agreement? It is 3 years. Always 3 years. When you do not know the answer, it is 3 years. For sale of a property and for execution, it is 12 years. For foreclosure, it is 30 years. And for everything else, it is 3 years. For you, it is 3 years. Baki jo 1 year, 2 year wala concept, it is not for you all. Which of the following statements regarding SURFACE are correct? Okay, I am not going to reply to this unit at all. It is you who is going to reply. I am just going to show you the answer. Because you are not replying, I do not know what is wrong with you. Everybody keeps replying. My chat section keeps getting full, but now today is nobody replying. Are you so much tired? What is wrong? Your first exam is PPB. You need to clear this exam. From the last 2 hours, I am just saying things and you are not replying. Now tell me the question, please. No, Sushil ji, D is not the correct answer. It is A. Action taken in good faith by secured creditors and their officers are protected under the Act. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Everything which is done in good faith is protected. If a company commits an offense under the Act, only the company is deemed to be guilty, not its officers. We deem the officers as guilty as well. The company as well as its officers are guilty. Civil courts have no jurisdiction over matters that fall under the power of the DRT and appellate tribunal. Yes. Either you go to courts, you go to tribunals, or you go to tribunals. The SURFACE Act has an overriding effect over that other acts in case of inconsistency. No, SURFACE and DRT goes parallelly. There is no overriding effect. SURFACE has overriding effect over normal acts. It does not override Companies Act or SEBI. SURFACE overrides just TPA. TPA को override करते हैं, बाकी किसी को नहीं. ठीक है? TPA is Transfer of Property Act. Statement number 1 and 3 are correct. 5 is also correct. The secured creditors must take action within the limitation period of 3 years. Yes, they should. 1, 3, 5 are correct. A is the correct answer. Next question. Next question is on the screen. The resolution professionals automatically become the liquidator once the liquidation process is passed without any written consent. They need a written consent. the adjudicating authority will make them the liquidator. They cannot themselves become the liquidator. There is nothing automatic in law. I have told you this hundreds of times. Statement number 1 is incorrect. The moment 1 gets incorrect, we eliminate A and B. Statement number 2, 3, 4 are correct. 5 is not. Secured creditors can realize the security interest. They cannot relinquish the liquidated estate. No. They can either relinquish their rights or they can realize their own. They realize it their own. That is, property लेके खुद बेच दे या फिर they go to the court, they relinquish their rights and let the court take over and they get the money as everybody else will. This statement is incorrect. Statement number 5 is incorrect. The moment 5 gets incorrect, we get D as the correct answer. Next, in case not originally pending before a court and if no settlement occurs in Lok Adalat, what can the parties do? The parties can go to the court. The parties can seek remedies in the court. C is the correct answer. Which of the following is not applicable? The act is not applicable to any security interest created on agricultural land. Yes, it is not applicable. Statement number 1 is correct. The act does not apply when the due amount is less than 20%. Yes. The act does not apply to the pledge of movable property. Yes. All the statements are correct. D is the correct answer. Which of the following statements regarding the recovery process and the power of recovery officer and DRT are correct? Statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 2 is not correct. The defendant is barred from raising any dispute before the recovery officer regardless of the correctness. Statement number 2 is incorrect. And this is tribunal within 30 days. We go to tribunal within 30 days. Statement number 6 is also incorrect. 2 and 6 are incorrect. Wherever 2 is mentioned or 6 is mentioned, let's eliminate that and A is going to be the correct answer. Next, which of the following statement correctly tells the punishment? Punishment. It is 1 year and 5 lakh fines or both. For false information, it is 1 year or 5 lakh fine or both. Which of the following statements correctly describes the scope of debt as given under section 2G? It excludes liability that arise from civil courts. It does not exclude. Statement number 2 is incorrect. That will give us B as the correct answer. Debt covers category of claim of banks and financial institutions due from any person or pooled investment, vehicles or date of application. Any liability inclusive of the interest, whether secured or unsecured, or any liability towards debt remaining unpaid or in full or part paid notice of 90 days, any liability under the decree or order of a civil court or any arbitrary award, any liability under a mortgage or subsisting or any legally recoverable. Next question. Which of the following statements regarding bankruptcy order for individuals or partnership are correct? Last question from this unit. Statement number 1 is correct. No, it is not. Okay. The application of bankruptcy can be made within 6 months or rejection of the repayment plan by the AA. The application of bankruptcy should be made within 3 months. 1 is incorrect. The moment 1 gets incorrect, we eliminate B. Let's see 2. 2 is correct. 3 is correct. 4 is correct. 5 is incorrect. It is 7 days. Not 15 days. 5 is also incorrect. The moment 5 gets incorrect, we eliminate others and get A as the correct answer. Now we have indemnity. Indemnity, guarantee and this letter of credit. They go hand in hand. Okay? Indemnity means where one party says to another that if losses happen to you, I'll pay you from my own pocket. Okay, this is an example for it. You can read this whenever you get the time. Let's attempt the question 1. What is the essential condition for a valid contract of indemnity under the Contract Act? That there should be a promise to save someone from the losses by the promisor or a third party. Which of the following statement is not an essential for an indemnity? The compromise must be prudent even in the absence of the contract of indemnity. The compromise must not have been authorized by the indemnifier. The compromise must be in writing and registered under the Indian Contract Act, the Indian Registration Act. The compromise must not be contrary to the other promisor. If it is not an authorized compromise, it is not an essential. Okay? The compromise must be in writing. We do not need to write it down. We do not need it to write it down. If the compromise is not authorized, it is not allowed. We do not need to write it down. Next, which of the following situation does not qualify as contract of indemnity? A friend lends money to another on the condition that the third party will repay. There is nothing like indemnity here. Which of the following statements are correct regarding contract of indemnity? A contract of indemnity is a contingent contract, depends upon happening or non-happening of an event. Yes. All types of indemnity contracts are fully inexhaustible under section 124. No, because 124 is not exhaustive in nature. The indemnity will depend upon the law and the equity principle as well. Other statements given on the screen are correct except 2. Everything is correct. That will give us C as the correct answer. Which of the following statements of the contract of indemnity and guarantee are correct? Indemnity and guarantee are correct. Guarantee involves 3 parties, indemnity involves 2 parties. Statement number 1 is incorrect. The moment statement number 1 gets incorrect, we eliminate A and D. 3 and 5 are common. Let's see 2 and 4. In guarantee, the creditor is primarily liable to make the payment. No, it is the debtor who makes the payment first. If the debtor does not make the payment, it is the guarantor. So 2 is also incorrect. That will give us B as the correct answer. Consider the following statement regarding indemnity under section 125. The indemnity holder can recover all damages he may be compelled to pay in a suit. Yes. He can recover cost only if he is against the specific instruction. No. He can recover the cost only if he is not contravened, if he is following the instructions. Other statements are correct. Statement number 2 is incorrect. That will give us A as the correct answer. Okay. There is statement number 5 which is also incorrect. All costs, whether it's reasonable or not, are recoverable. No. Only reasonable costs are recoverable. Or only reasonable costs are recoverable is the correct answer. Consider the following statement regarding the contract of indemnity. The contract of indemnity under Indian law can arise by implication from the conduct and circumstances. Yes, it can. The indemnity of the indemnifier, the liability of the indemnifier arises only after the indemnity has actually paid off. No, it arises the moment the losses are absolute. The liability arises the moment the losses become absolute. Statement number 2 is incorrect. That will give us C as the correct answer. Consider the following statements regarding indemnity contract in banking. Statement number 3 is incorrect. Banks may require a surety in addition to an indemnity when the amount is substantial or the customer is not well known. When the customer is not well known. Statement number 3 is incorrect. That will give us A as the correct answer. Now we have contract of guarantee. Contract of guarantee talks about that there are 3 persons. If there is a person guarantor, there is a person debtor, there is a creditor. Creditor says to debtor that I'll give you loan only if there is a person who takes a surety on you. So the guarantor and the debtor, there is a contract between the surety and the creditor that if the debtor does not pay to you, I'll pay you. The first responsibility is of the debtor to pay off to the creditor. The contract between the debtor and the creditor is that of a loan. The contract between a creditor and the surety is that of a guarantee. That is that if B does not pay, I'll pay. And if C pays on behalf of B, B has to indemnify C. B has to pay off C anyhow because B has taken the benefits. Why is C paying from his own pocket? I gave an example here regarding my father that if I want to take a loan from the bank and bank says that no ma'am, we do not know you. So I can ask my father to be my guarantor. My father is a well-known businessman. He can come in and he can say that you know me, right? You know me that I do business with you. I am the surety of her. If she doesn't pay, I'll pay you. So the contract is between you and me. The first contract is between you and me of a loan. The second contract is between you and my father, that he is a guarantor, that if I don't pay, he'll pay you. And the third contract is between me and my father, that if I do not make the payments to the bank and my father pays to the bank, I have to indemnify him. Why is he facing the losses? There is a concept of continuing guarantee. Continuing guarantee means for a series of transactions, the guarantee can be given. I have given you an example for this. You can read this example on your own. Next, we have the MCQ. MCQ number 1 is on the screen. C is the correct answer. Question number 2. Creditor allows the principal debtor to change the terms of the purchase without informing the surety. This will eliminate the surety's duty. The surety will get discharged. C is the correct answer. In the context of the contract of guarantee, under which of the following situation will the guarantee be invalid due to lack of consideration? It will be invalid when C promises to pay goods already sold and delivered to A to B without a request from A or B. C is the correct answer. Consider the following statement regarding contract of guarantee under Indian Contract Act. Indian Contract Act. A guarantee must always be in writing. There is no such thing. There is no requirement of the guarantee to be in writing. Statement number 1 is incorrect. The moment 1 gets incorrect, we absolute A and C. Statement number 2 is correct. Statement number 3 is correct. Statement number 4 is not correct. The creditor can proceed directly against the guarantor. My bank can sue my father directly. He does not need to sue me first. He can directly sue the guarantor. Okay. So statement number 4 is also incorrect. 1 and 4 are correct. Incorrect. 2, 3, 5 are correct. That will give us B as the correct answer. B is the correct answer. Amit is the owner of a textile business and wants to purchase fabric from Ramesh. Ramesh agrees to sell the fabric only if Amit provides a guarantor. Sunil, a friend of Amit, agrees to act as a guarantor. Based on this assurance, Ramesh delivers fabric worth 5 lakhs to Amit. Later, Amit fails to make the repayment. Amit is the owner of the textile and wants to purchase. So he is the debtor. Amit is the debtor. Ramesh is the creditor. Okay. Sunil is the guarantor. Sunil, a friend of Amit, agrees to act as a guarantor based on the assurance. Ramesh delivers the goods. Ramesh gives the goods to A of 5 lakh rupees. Amit fails to pay. It is S who has to pay R now. Ramesh approaches Sunil for payment, but Sunil refuses, saying that he did not receive any benefit or consideration. There is no need of consideration in the contract of guarantee. The consideration for you is that A is getting some goods because of you. Meanwhile, Amit files for insolvency. Ramesh then files a suit against Sunil. Sunil argues that Ramesh must recover the amount first from Amit and then only approach him. No, Ramesh can directly file a case against Sunil. Sunil acted as a guarantor. A case against Sunil can directly be filed. Sunil is liable to pay immediately since his liability is co-extensive to that of Amit. C is the correct answer. I hope this situation is clear to every single one of you. Next. Consider the following statement regarding continuing guarantee and its invocation. A continuing guarantee can be revoked for future transaction by giving notice to the creditor. Yes, it can be. The death of the surety does not affect the guarantor under any circumstance. Why? The death of the surety negates the contract of guarantee. The moment the surety dies, the surety goes out and the contract of surety goes out, though the circumstances change. Statement number 2 is incorrect. The moment 2 gets incorrect, we eliminate B and C. Any change in the contract between the debtor and the creditor without the surety's consent discharges the surety for future transaction. Yes, it does. You do not tell the surety. Now the surety is not liable. Fourth, the limitation period in the case of continuing guarantee starts from the date of the guarantee's execution. No. Statement number 4 is incorrect. The continuing guarantee, the limitation period starts from when the balance is constituted, not from the date of execution. Fourth is also incorrect. The moment fourth gets incorrect, we get A as the correct answer. Consider the following statement regarding rights and discharge of surety in the contract of guarantee. Mere forbearance to sue the debtor results in discharge of surety. Just because you have not filed a case against me does not mean that you cannot ask money from my father. My father is discharged from the liabilities. Statement number 2 is incorrect. The moment statement number 2 gets incorrect, we get D as the correct answer. D is the correct answer. Now we have letter of credit, the last unit. Letter of credit. Letter of credit means when we take a letter from the bank stating that the exporter is outside India. We give this letter of credit to the outside India stating that the moment you deliver the goods to India, the moment you ship the goods to India, you'll get the money. It is a guarantee from the bank that you'll get the money, that the draft will be honored if you do all the documents, that is, if you provide all the documents needed for shipment. Okay, this is a chart. I explain this to you in much details. You can go through this chart again. Next, what is the total number of articles in UCP 600? It got reduced, right? It got reduced from 49 to 39. The answer is A. 500 में 49 थे, 600 में is 39. Statement number, what is correct? Statement number 2 is incorrect. Invoice must strictly adhere to the terms of the LC. We should always follow what was required. B is the correct answer. Which of the following correctly describes the role of confirming bank? Confirming bank क्या करता है? Confirming bank is the one. The confirming bank is the one that pays. The confirming bank is the one that confirms that the money is going to come. No, the confirming bank is the one who pays. The confirming bank is the one who pays. Right? The confirming bank is the one who pays. That it advises the LCs and it acts as an additional guarantee. Statement number 1. C. Consider the following statements regarding anticipatory letter of credit. Red clause may advance payment before shipment. Green clause may advance payment plus storage charges. Green and both letters are classified as a site under UCP 600. No, it is not. Red and green are not typically site credit. Statement number C is incorrect. 3 is incorrect. That will give us A as the correct answer. Next, what distinguishes a transferable letter of credit from a regular one? Transferable may, you can give this. Suppose you gave me a letter of credit, I can give this to my exporter. Yes, I can. Normal one may, I cannot. I just can go to bank and get the money first. This is the difference. Okay, this is the difference. It permits the original beneficiary to transfer it to another party. Yes, it does. Which of the following statements are correct? This is the last question from this unit. Which is correct? Oh, we have one more question. Statement number 2 is incorrect. The letter of credit does not name any bank. Only the advising bank can act as a negotiating bank. No. The LC does not specify any bank. Any bank can act as a negotiating bank. It is not just the advising bank. Any bank can act as a negotiating bank. Whichever the bank is of the seller can act as a negotiating bank. B is the correct answer. Consider the following statements regarding UCPDC 600. It has 339 articles now. Yes, it does. Statement number 1 is correct. It replaced the vague reasonable time with a definite 5 days working. Yes, it did. Statement number 3 does not recognize the presentation of electronic documents. Everything is electronic. How does one thing cannot recognize it? The moment this is written, third is written, it's incorrect. And 1 is not written here. Let's eliminate this. That will give us A as the correct answer. A as the correct answer. Now we have deferred payment system, deferred payment guarantee. Deferred payment guarantee means when we have to buy expensive machines from outside India, we don't make the payment right now. We give some amount, and we can give an advance, we can give some amount by letter of credit, and the remaining gets paid within 7 years. Okay, 7 years time we usually take to make the payments. 1 to 7 years when the installments get paid. This is a cycle that you will have to study. Deferred payment is a bank unconditional irrevocable assurance that the seller will get money in installments, that if the buyer defaults, the seller will be paid by the bank from their own pocket. Bank acts as a guarantor on behalf of the buyer. Okay? The Supreme Court in the case of Maharashtra Electric Board versus official liquidator, what was held regarding the bank liability? It was held that the bank remains liable under the guarantee even after liquidation. C is the correct answer. Next, which of the following scenarios would constitute a valid guarantee? What will constitute a valid guarantee? A agrees to supply goods to B only if C guarantees. C agrees and A supplies. This is a valid guarantee. In the absence of contract to the contrary, death of surety discharges, revokes the entire guarantee including all past and future liabilities. No, it just discharges from future liabilities. Revokes the guarantee only for the transaction done before death. No. The guarantee only for future transaction. Yes. C is the correct answer. Which of the following statements regarding bank guarantee are correct? What are correct regarding bank guarantee? That it is given under section 128, 126. Yes, it is. The bank guarantee is a contract where bank guarantee payment to the third party on behalf of the customer in the case of default. Yes. Statement number 2 is correct. Statement number 3 is also correct. Statement number 4 is not correct. Performance guarantee ensures that bank's customer will repay in financial obligation as per the agreed term. Performance guarantee ensures that the customer performs a non-financial obligation. They do not talk about the repayment. They talk about the performance. कि काम करके देगा आपको customer. The customer will work. They'll work their part. Statement number 5 is also incorrect. Bank does not investigate the contract. It pays the amount. The moment the obligation arises, bank pays for it. The bank pays for it. Statement number 5 is also incorrect. 4 and 5 are incorrect. That will give us A as the correct answer. Next question. Answer is C. Statement number 2 and 4 are incorrect. Next question. Last question. Last question of the day. Statement number 1 is correct. 2 is not correct. DPG, that is deferred payment guarantee, is provided by third party. That is the bank, not the exporter. Not the exporter. Statement number 2 is incorrect. That will give us B as the correct answer. Here we have completed till unit 33. If anybody has any doubt, please let me know in the chat section. If anybody has any doubt, please let me know in the chat section. Okay. If you want to ask me anything, please go ahead, write that in the chat section. Those who are watching the class on YouTube, if you get any doubt, please write that doubt in the chat section. You will get this PDF from our app. The link for the app is given in the description box. We'll have the class same. We'll have the next 11 units in tomorrow's class. We'll meet then. Bye bye. Thank you.